Welcome to the Unpackin' It podcast with Bryce Johnson. It's a show that unpacks sports, faith, and life with intriguing guests from the sports and entertainment world. Enjoy inspiring conversations and thought-provoking interviews. You'll hear stories from people that will inspire, challenge, and encourage you. Now, from the Unpackin' It studios in Charlotte, North Carolina, uniting sports fans everywhere, here is Bryce Johnson.
And joining us now is Hunter Henry, tight end for the Los Angeles Chargers. He was drafted in the second round of the 2016 NFL Draft after playing his college football at Arkansas, where he was on the All-SEC team 3 times. During his first 2 seasons in the NFL, he had 12 touchdowns, and he missed the entire 2018 regular season due to a torn ACL, but did return in the playoffs. We are thrilled to have Hunter Henry back on Unpacking It to talk faith, football, and life. Hunter, thanks so much for joining us again. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, and what an exciting time of year. You guys are returning to training camp. So what makes this time of year unique compared to OTAs or even the regular season?
Well, you were so close to the season, and you go stay together in a hotel. You're there all day long. You're practicing for longer. You got more reps, and then you throw the pads on. That's the main thing. I mean, football is played with is a physical sport. In the spring, you're not allowed to put the pads on yet. You just kind of running around with helmets on, but you still get a lot of work in. But there's nothing like blocking and getting physical with some guys. So that's the main thing. I think once camp starts is just finding out kind of getting back in the rhythm, getting back in shape a little bit too. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. And then what about off the field and just kind of all being together? What is the team camaraderie like, and what do you guys kind of do during the downtime?
Yeah. It's just, you eat together, you kind of break bread together and, learn a lot about different guys. And, I think going through hard times like camp, camp can be it is definitely a grind. And when you go through that with different guys, there's just a special kind of bond that you can't describe unless you've been through it. So that's the biggest thing. I think just going through this together, you come out of it definitely pretty, stronger and closer as a unit.
Oh, that's awesome. Hunter Henry, our guest right now on Unpacking It. And so how is your mindset and approach different this year compared to maybe your first couple of years with the Chargers?
Yeah, coming off an injury, I think anything is just taking care of my body and just really honing in on that and trying to, be available. That's the biggest thing, is being available for this team. And I haven't been. So, I accept that. And it's just the reality of how it's been this last year. So I think it's just taking care of my body, make sure I'm there every single day and, just working to get better. I think that's the main thing for me. And then just approaching the game in a different aspect of just, I had a new appreciation for it. I think that's what being away from the game sometimes gives you, just how much you missed it and how much you love it. Actually just gets you through those hard times when you might not want to go anymore, but you just look back at those times.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm sure you're tired of talking about the injury, but I am curious just to hear just about the journey that you went through, really from a personal standpoint and a faith perspective. And so, kind of what can you share with us as far as what this last year was like as you experience getting injured, rehabbing, and attempting to get back on the field, and then ultimately being able to return in the playoffs? Kind of take us into what that was like for you.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. I grew a lot in my faith. I grew a lot in my marriage. So I got married in the last year, and so those two things were huge for me. I was able to lean on, my rock and my faith, and football. It can get taken away sometimes as athletes. I think we can worship football and we can worship, false idols that really they're not there permanently, and Christ is there always. It is never. He's never shaken. He's never taken away once you become a believer. So. That's the main thing that I think I just was able to, rely on, is that, I am loved by him no matter what, no matter if I'm hurt and not playing or, I'm an all pro out there. I think that's the main thing that I had to learn, because I think we all get sucked up in this world, especially in the NFL, just with the media and different things like that. You have to humble yourself and remember, what your real purpose is out here.
Oh man, what a tremendous perspective, and along those lines too. So it sounds like you did grow, but how are you able to even spend maybe more time with the Lord or participate in different stuff that maybe you wouldn't have necessarily been able to if you had been playing? So what were some of those, I don't know, opportunities or just ways that you were able to grow?
Yeah, I think I got a lot of time with my wife. That's the biggest thing, is just serving my wife. That's what God calls us to do, is just being able to be there for your wife and called to, just love on her and be there for her. So especially now being away with football and all that stuff, it was a good foundation for us. So I think that was huge. I think I was able to go to church more. And when you're in the season, you're playing on Sundays. It's a little tougher to get plugged into a church. So I got to, get plugged into a church, do all that, and the church and just getting plugged in a little bit really helps me grow and just have a little bit of consistency and help me get through those hard times.
Yeah, and had you experienced anything like that in the past? Like what was kind of the newness to being out for the year, being injured that way, and kind of, I don't know, maybe how did your perspective change because of this specific experience?
Never been through anything like this, so it was a good learning experience. And like I said, it's just gave me a new appreciation for football, just how much I love it, and just a new perspective on life that anything can be taken away from you just like that.
Hunter Henry, our guest right now on Unpacking It, and so what about what was the dynamic like with your team and with your teammates, and were you focused on, okay, how can I still contribute from the sideline and be there for them? And then, how were they there for you, knowing that you were dealing with an injury?
Yeah, it's hard. It's different. You feel a little isolated. I'm not going to lie. When you're injured, you're just away from the team and you're not able to contribute. You're not really able to go through those times together, and you feel isolated and away from everybody. That part of it's hard, but we had a lot of guys that were really there for me. We have a lot of guys on the team that's been through the injury too, so they were able to give me a lot of advice and how to get through it. So those two things were huge.
And what about moving forward, knowing when other guys go on injured reserve, how will your approach change to kind of how you, I don't know, intentionally reach out to them?
Yeah, that's huge. That's a big thing. Just trying to be there for them. I know what they're going through, so just encouragement and just trying to be there for them as much as I can.
That's awesome. Hunter Henry, our guest right now on Unpacking It. He's a tight end for the Los Angeles Chargers. And so you mentioned that last year you got married, and so I always love, just kind of hearing about how the wedding turned out, and was it what you'd hoped it would be, and how did all that turn out?
Yeah, it was great, man. It was a lot of stress because I did my ACL right before that, so I was rehabbing hard to try to get up on my feet, but it turned out great. Was able to walk, was able to dance, have a great time. It was perfect.
Oh, that's awesome. And what about the honeymoon? Where'd you guys go?
We went to Jamaica.
Oh, me too. Where at?
Yeah, Montego Bay.
Oh, me too. That's awesome.
Man.
We loved it. We absolutely loved it. So.
Yeah, we loved it too.
Oh, good to hear. Very cool. Well, so what did you kind of mentioned being able to spend more time with your wife because of the injury, which ended up kind of being a blessing. But what did you learn, and what wisdom maybe can you share just from a first year of marriage, maybe to guys that are listening today that are getting married soon?
You need to be a leader. I think that's the biggest thing. You have to lead the marriage. I think the biggest thing is putting Christ first. That's the biggest thing, man. That forgiveness and that grace being the center of your marriage is huge for you and sets the tempo for everything. So, because forgiveness and grace is going to be the biggest thing that you're going to have to do a lot. So, you're going to have to humble yourself a lot and just kind of die to yourself a little bit and just love her as much as you can. We're called to do that as men, and to just love them. It's like Christ the church, they say. So that's the biggest thing, is just loving them like Christ is his church. And just that's the biggest thing for me, is just that I've learned, is just love and forgiveness.
And as you kind of have looked to other examples of marriage over the years, and maybe your parents or other people, what are some of those things that you've learned or observed that you've tried to already bring into your own marriage?
Yeah, I think my parents, they're great examples. So are my in-laws. So I think we were able to look at their relationship, and it was just kind of the same things. It's just loving each other, being best friends, and just forgiving each other.
Ah, that's good. Hunter Henry, our guest right now on Unpacking It, tight end for the Los Angeles Chargers. And so let's talk a little football and about the upcoming season. What's kind of the energy like with this team, knowing that, hey, you guys had an awesome season last year. You're coming back healthy, add in a couple other pieces. What's been sort of the tone, I guess, kind of coming into training camp?
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, we have a lot of weapons. We have a great offense, great defense. So we know we have a great team, and just looking forward to the opportunity to go out there and display it.
What are some areas of your game that even as are on the sideline watching, are wanting to kind of improve on or have been improving on in the offseason?
I think, everybody's improving on what they already do, but I think it's just being a balanced team. That's the biggest thing for us, being both able to, be successful in the run game and the pass game. That's the biggest thing. And
for you specifically, what about your own game?
Yeah, for my game, I mean, I missed last year, so I think it's just health. I'm trying to play all 16 games this year, and just trying to be one of the best tight ends in the NFL. I think that's my main goal every single day.
Well, Hunter, thank you so much for joining us here on Unpacking It. Great to have you back on the show, and thanks for taking the time.
All right, man. Have a good one. Thanks for having me on.
For more information about the show, our events, and other resources, visit unpackinit.com. That's UNPACKINIT.com. We hope you are encouraged, inspired, and challenged by what you heard today. To support our show and Unpacking It Ministries with a financial gift, visit unpackinit.com/donate. We look forward to unpacking sports, faith, and life with you again next week.